Hello children, today we are going to do a very interesting poem by the name After Blenheim by an English writer, Robert Southey. This poem is known as the anti-war poem. The name of the poem is After Blenheim. The name Blenheim suggests here as the name of the place where a battle between English and French was fought in 1704. Children, several years later, we have a scene somewhere in this poem. Therefore, the word after in the title is important. So, After Blenheim suggests a scene several years later after the war which was fought between English and French at the place named as Blenheim. This poem is in a ballad form. That means it is a simple tale with a conversation between an old man and his two little grandchildren. This poem uses very simple language, that is the colloquial language, so no figurative language is used in the full poem. Children, if you go through the lines in the poem has 6 lines in every stanza, with the first 4 lines having the rhyming scheme as A, B, C, B, which makes a quatrain. Next 2 lines form a couplet, and the ending words of these 2 lines, they do not have any rhyme scheme. Now this poem, children, refers to the famous Battle of Blenheim, as I told you, fought in 1704. So, being an anti-war poem, this poem condemns blind patriotism and it castigates all wars which only bring out horror, death and destruction. This is written as a ballad. It tells us about the war fought at Blenheim, in which the English, under the command of the Duke of Marlborough, won a grand victory. By juxtaposing the opposite views, it effectively conveys the horrors of all wars. So in the beginning of the poem, the scene is set where old Caspar, the grandfather, he has done his work, and it was a summer evening when we have this tale, the beginning of this tale. So it was a summer evening, old Caspar's work was done, and he before his cottage door was sitting in the sun, and by him sported on the green his little grandchild Wilhelmine. So the poem at once makes the setting of the story very clear. It was a summer evening, and old Caspar, having finished his day's work, was sitting before his cottage door. His little granddaughter by the name Wilhelmine was playing near him on the green grass. Green means green grass. The situation described here is a very common situation. In the next stanza, she saw her brother Peterkin roll something large and round which he beside the rivulet in playing there had found. He came to ask what he had found. They were so large and smooth and round. The little girl Wilhelmine saw her brother Peterkin rolling something that was large and round and smooth. Peterkin had discovered the thing by the side of a rivulet while he was playing there. He came back home to know what that thing was. Old Caspar took it from the boy who stood expectant by, and then the old man shook his head, and with a natural sigh, "It is some poor fellow's skull," said he, "who fell in the great victory." So old Caspar took that large, smooth and round object from the boy, who now stood expecting for a reply and an answer from the old man, his grandfather, and then the old man shook his head. And what is his reply? His reply comes with a natural sigh. "It is some poor fellow's skull." Here poor does not mean poor by money. Poor means a poor fellow who was unlucky, who fell in the great victory. Fell means who died in the great victory. Which victory? Of this war, battle between English and French. This person had died. I find them in the garden, for there's many hereabout, and often when I go to plough, the ploughshare turns them out. Now, what does he say? He says that The old man added that he found a number of skulls in the garden because there were many skulls scattered there around when he went to plow in his field. Many skulls were dug out of the earth. So it was because thousands of men were killed in the Battle of Blenheim. He again referred to the battle as the grand or great victory, as it was something natural to be proud of. Who fell in the great victory, he says earlier in the line. So this in fact is ironic, and he brings out effectively the destruction or the destructive side of war. Now tell us what it was all about, young Peterkin, he cries, and little Wilhelmine looks up with wonder-waiting eyes. Now tell us all about the war and what they fought each other for. In the stanza 5, the young Peterkin got anxious. So he cries, he is anxious to know all about the incident. And Wilhelmine, little Wilhelmine looks up with wonder-waiting. Wonder-waiting means with keen eyes, waiting for the reply. They wanted to know all about the war and what they, the two sides, fought each other for. It was the English, Caspar cried, who put the French to rout. But what they fought each other for I could not well make out. But everybody said, quoth he, that it was a famous victory. Caspar, in stanza 6, he said, the old Caspar said, it was the English who completely defeated the French. French to rout, he completely defeated. But what they each other for, he could not make out, he was not very sure of. But he, quoth, so this is the conventional view that he is giving here, that everybody said that it was a famous victory. That is what all he knows about the war. My father lived at Blenheim then. You on little stream hard by, they burnt his dwelling to the ground, and he was forced to fly. So with his wife and child he fled. Who is wife and child? Caspar's mother and Caspar himself. He fled, nor had he where to rest his head. Now he is telling his own tale. He says about the war, that his father lived at Blenheim that time. Yon little stream hard by, near a little stream, a little rivulet. But the people at war, they burnt his dwelling to house to the ground, and he was forced to fly, to run away from there. So with his wife, father, with his wife and child, Caspar, and with Caspar and the mother, he fled. Nor had he where to rest his head. They had no place to live then. With fire and sword, the country round was wasted far and wide, and many a chilting mother then and newborn baby died. But things like that, you know, must be at every famous victory. So what does he say further? That the whole country, the old man said, was ruined far and wide with fire and sword. Most expectant mothers and newborn children, they died. Ironically, the old man added that such things must happen to win a grand victory. Then further in stanza 9, he says, they say it was a shocking sight after the field was won, for many thousand bodies here lay rotting in the sun. But things like that, you know, must be after a famous victory. They say, the people used to say, it was a shocking, ghastly sight after the field was won, after the battle was won. For many thousand bodies. Why was it a shocking sight or a ghastly sight? Because thousands of bodies of the people lay rotting in the sun. They lie rotting, destroyed, wasted in the sun. But things like that. But then he explains ironically, he added, that such things must happen to win a grand victory. Great praise the Duke of Marlborough won, and our good Prince Eugene. Why, it was a very wicked thing, said little Wilhelmine. Nay, nay, my little girl, quoth he, it was a famous victory. So we have a very interesting dialogue here. Great praise the great Duke of Marlborough won, and our good Prince Eugene. So the old Caspar showered praises on the Duke of Marlborough, the English commander, and good Prince Eugene. But little Wilhelmine instinctively says, "Why, it was a very wicked thing." That is her reaction. "Nay, nay, my little girl." So what is the answer Caspar has? He has no particular answer. Children, we have the ellipses here. These dots indicating ellipses. Now, Caspar is not very sure of his answer. Therefore, these ellipses or the gaps in nay and nay suggest that suggest his uncertainty, his unsurety. He's not very sure about the answer now that he's about to give. So he simply he quoted from whatever he has the answer from the people that he had heard, that it was a famous victory. He has nothing much to say or to explain to the little girl about this destructive war. "And everybody praised the Duke who this great fight did win, but what good came of it at last?" quoth little Peterkin. "Why, that I cannot tell," said he, "but it was a famous victory." And everybody praised. Now again, Caspar says, and everybody, whosoever heard about the victory, they praised the Duke. The Duke of Marlborough, for the fight. Who did this great fight did win, because of whom they won the great fight. But what good? Now Peterkin is inquisitive, and quickly he asked, "But what good came of it at last?" Again, Caspar has no answer for this. He says, "Why, that I cannot tell. I cannot explain. I do not know. I don't have the answer. I cannot tell." But what he can say is just like a conventional answer, that it was a famous victory. So children, this poem has an open ending. The old man continues to stick to his conventional opinion of war. He has no reply to the searching questions of his little grandchildren. Children, this poem has two themes: the horrors of war and generation gap. The horrors of war is very clear because we have the poem as which shows the idea that the war is horrible. Thousands of people are killed, wounded or maimed in any war. We have the idea of generation gap, where we see that there is the conventional view of Caspar, and we have the instinctive, innocent and simple view of the children. So children, go through this poem and in the workbook, look at the explanation given in the workbook for better understanding of the poem. Thank you, children.